Hey guys, welcome to my garage. It's about 6 months now that I purchased the Scissor lift, and today we will be doing some maintenance. I will show you some accessories and upgrades that I did for the lift, and most importantly, we will address some safety concerns, so stay tuned. My first video about this lift has more than 300,000 views, which is insane, and thank you very much guys for watching it. If you haven't seen it, I'll put the link down in the description. More importantly though, there were some great comments from people who have lifts like these, and they provided some tips for maintenance to make sure the lift runs trouble-free for years. So let's start with the maintenance. So the lift has many pins and joints like these, and apparently none of these come pre-greased from the factory. So these main joints come with grease nipples, and you can use grease gun for these, but these ones for piston, there are no grease nipples or anything like that. So I bought this grease gun with lithium grease, and I will try and grease all the joints. For those that do not have nipple, I will try and remove them and grease them manually. So let's do it. Okay, so this was simple. I wish all the joints would have grease nipples. It would be really simple then. Now I will try and remove manually these and put some grease onto the pins. Remember, the lift is now locked on its manual locks, so I could even remove the piston. It should stay as it is. Okay guys, so all these center joints are now greased up. I did both sides of the lift and they were completely dry, so I'm happy that I did this. Now there are two more joints that I want to grease. Let me show you. So it's these two joints at the top of the lift. Obviously they are the same on the other side. So now to remove these pins, I need to find a way how to support the platform, otherwise all the weight is on the pins. Okay, so the platform is now supported by the toolbox. I will try and remove now the pins, only one at a time. Okay, so we are at the first safety concern, and that is this grub screw. So this grub screw is holding down these pins that I just greased, and one guy in the comments said that his grub screws were not tightened down. Well, I just checked mine and mine were not tight either. So make sure that you tighten them down properly. Even if you don't do any of this greasing, that's not so important than to making sure that the grub screw is really tight. Okay guys, so that would be all the important joints greased up. Now there are a couple more at the bottom that I will just put a drip of oil in there, and I think they will be fine. And with that said, then let's talk about the upgrades I did for the lift. So the first accessory that I did were these rubber ramps, and in my view they're absolutely necessary because the lift has quite a steep approach angle. And when I was trying to drive the car onto the ramp, it was actually pushing the ramp forward, so the wheel couldn't get onto the ramp. Now I have a separate video of how I built these, so if you're interested there will be a link in the description. Now the second upgrade is supposed to help me to move the lift around. Let me show you a clip how I built it. So after all the grinding and welding and a bit of paint, I built this cup. And let me show you what it will be used for. So originally the lift comes with these two wheels, which you can put in the back. And then it comes with this lever that you can use to raise the front. Now all of this would be great, but there is one issue. The lift needs to be in the air to be able to put the wheels on. Now that the lift is up, I was able to put on the wheels, but I still can't move the lift around because the wheels are in the air. So I need to lower the lift now, but that's the issue. It takes quite a long time because there is no weight on the lift. So now that the lift is lowered, the wheels have raised the rear side of the lift, so I can use the lever to raise up the front and move the lift around. So now that I moved the lift, I actually need to raise it again to be able to remove the wheels from the rear. And then, of course, lower it again, which takes a long time. So to move the lift around is essentially becoming a 20-minute job because it takes about 12 minutes or 15 to raise and lower the lift twice. And this is where my tool comes in place. So I built this to be able to stick onto these wheels, onto this lever. And now with this, I can raise the rear side of the lift the same way how I can raise the front. Let me show you. That's it. So this took only about 15 seconds instead of 15 minutes, which I think is great. Now, in my specific case, I usually need to move the lift only side to side when I need to get it from underneath the car to the center of the garage that I have space around the car. So the next upgrade is designed to solve this. So I designed and 3D printed a dolly like this. It is made out of these skateboard wheels and some hardened rods, and this is the main body. So as you could see, these wheels are working great for my specific use case, and obviously I designed them for my use case, which is a side-to-side movement. If you have some other upgrades, or if you decide to build any of these, please let me know in the comments. I'll be interested to hear. Okay, so now let's address the most important topic, which is obviously the safety. So in my previous video, there were comments regarding the quality of the lift, it's made in China, whether it's, safe to work underneath it and so on and so on. And guys, I'm fully with you. All of these are valid safety concerns, and I'm not here to promote this lift or any other for that matter. I bought this with my own money, and even though it was not cheap, I was looking for more expensive lifts as well from some brand names. My issue was though that most of them were a bit narrower than this one, so I would have issues to fit my bigger cars. So all of the electronics are Chinese. Likely the pump is Chinese as well, and for all we know, the hydraulics components too. All of this can potentially fail, and I'm very aware of that. Having said that, I think this is decently made. I have not found any major flaws with the way how this is built. If you look, these are really heavy steel. I don't really see this failing at all. The platform is reinforced with this angle iron, and there's some additional reinforcements where the wheels are rolling in the back. The locking mechanism is made of thick steel. Let's measure it. It's about 8 mm thick steel. Even though the steel is 8 mm, there are still reinforcements to spread the load onto the shaft. The only design flaw that I see is with these pin holders or these brackets. They are welded directly to this platform, and I would like to see some more reinforcements around that to spread the load better. And as I say, it does look to be built fine, but I'm not saying that none of this can fail. And because of that, I will be building some additional reinforcement and automatic locking mechanism to provide some additional safety. However, that will be in another video, because now I have some other work around the house and I need to concentrate on that. Now, last but not least, let's address the #1 question which appeared in the comments in my previous video. Why did I move the hydraulics and electrics connections from one side of the lift to the other one instead of simply turning the lift around? Now this is really important, and it is the same for any scissor lift. It doesn't matter if you have any brand name or any Chinese. All these scissor lifts have a front and a rear side. Now on my lift there is a sign that is showing that the front of the car should be at the front of the lift. And this is the same for each and every scissor lift, which is simply due to the physics, how the legs are moving from the back towards the front. And if you look at the lift, the center of the lift is more to the front than to the rear. So most of the load should be at the front and a bit less to the rear. And the reason for that is and there is a bigger lever in this rear side when the lift is up. I don't have the exact load rating for this lift in terms of front and rear, but if you are interested, you can look up the Twin Bush 3-ton lift, and on that lift, if I remember correctly, on the front you can load it with 1800 kilograms, and in the rear you can load it with 1200 kilograms. Now most of the cars are front heavy, that's why they recommend to have the front of the car at the front of the lift. I guess if you have a car that is 50-50 balanced, like most of the BMWs, it does not necessarily matter how you put on the car, but it still applies that the front of the lift can bear more. Now I guess it's not that critical with small cars, so it really becomes an issue with bigger, heavier cars, and in that case, pay attention to this rule, because if you don't adhere to it, the back of your platforms could bend down, or in worst case, the car could potentially fall from the lift. So in my specific case, I wanted to have the lift exactly as you can see it now. So I wanted to have it in this side of the garage because that's the spot I use less. In this space we are parking the car that we used more. So it needs to be exactly in this spot, and this is why I had to move the cables. Guys, I hope this answered the question. If you have any others, please leave a comment below and I'll try and answer all of them. And with that said, thank you very much for watching and see you in the next one.